Now let's take a look at adding additional geometry. So in a lot of cases, the models that you create in Mudbox won't be just one piece of geometry. We'll have multiple pieces associated with that. In our object list, you can see all we have here is the one creature piece of geometry. So there's several ways we can do this, and it's basically the same way we'd bring in the base geometry. We can either go to File, and we can import a piece of geometry that we have created in something else, or we can go to Create, Mesh, and we can create a piece of geometry that way. So let's go ahead and bring in a sphere. So now we have two pieces in here. So what we want to do is select our sphere and go to Select and Move, and then we can use our Translate, Rotate, and Scale tools here. So I'm going to scale this sphere down, and let's move it up, and I'm going to move it into position as one of this character's eyes. So I'm going to move it kind of off to the side, and we'll kind of push it into his head, scale it down a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of move it over. Now the eye lids may not match exactly because we sculpted those in without having any eye geometry in there, and so it may not match exactly, but you can see it's actually pretty close. I don't want to scale this down too much, so maybe something like that. We can click off to kind of see how that looks. So I think that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and name this, and we'll call this, just right clicking on this, go to rename object, and we'll call this eye left. So now to get the other eye in there, what we're going to do is right click on this eye left, and let's duplicate it. All right, let's rename this eye right. And now what we want to do is kind of mirror this over to the other side. Okay, so with that object selected, the eye right, let's go up to the menu, Mesh, and let's go to Flip Mesh, and we want to flip it around the X. That's the one that's right down the middle right here, and so we want to flip it over to that side. So we'll go to Flip around X, and that flips that eye now over to that side. So now we've got our eye left and our eye right. If you wanted to add little teeth or something in there, you could do that too. Bring in the geometry that maybe you've, and you can continue to sculpt it, but bring in the base geometry and kind of putting it in position. But now we have the creature and the two eyes that we can start to sculpt and paint. All right. And then at this point, you could come in, once you've got your eyes in there, we could come in and maybe lock those eyes. And then if we had to modify anything around the eyes, we could come in with our maybe grab. Let's turn on symmetry back. And then we could start to come in and modify this geometry around those eyes. Okay, so that's a look at how we can start to add new geometry to our scene. In the next lesson, let's use the pose tools here to just create a little bit of a pose. So we'll move his arms down a little bit and maybe move his little antenna pieces down, make it look a little bit more natural. So let's go ahead and do that next.